Hi guys. Yes, this is a very different look for me. Today I have a black wig with like red highlights in it, and I pulled some hair out. This is actually my hair that's blended into it, so you guys can kind of see that. But I actually look like one of my friends with a lot of hair. um, I just wanted to talk to you guys about, me, everything. Um, I've been in a whirlwind since January of 2014. Um, and I guess one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was energy and people. People who try to steal your energy, they're energy vampires, which kind of works for this wig. Um, where like they come to you and they tell you all their problems, which is okay because people tell me all their problems all the time. But what they're doing is they're also sucking the life out of you. So it's like, yeah, fine. I listen to people's problems. The reason I listen to people's problems is because as soon as they're gone, I don't think about it. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I feel bad for them and I wish I could help. No. I'm just like, they needed someone to talk to. I'm here. Okay, peace out. And in that time, I try to make them laugh and smile and, you know, have a good time. And, those are the people I try to surround myself with are people like me, but there's so few. There's so few of us. Please, if there's a bunch of us, we're all quirky and weird and full of love and life. And please contact me because I'm looking for more of us. My last person left to Wisconsin, and now I'm all alone in New York. Please find me. But anyway, um, some people are energy vampires, and they basically come around you. I don't know how they do it. I'm still trying to figure it out. But they can literally suck your happy out of you, your energy, your life force in a way. When then you're lethargic and you don't feel good, and some people call it a psychic attack, and that's what the evil eye is for. And you got to be careful of these people. There's a lot of them out there, and now with access to all this information, so many people are learning how to do these things. So just be careful. You know, um, I don't know how to word it off. I just pray and I try to do good and I don't let things bother me. I think my whole life I've kind of been like a cartoon skipping in the wind, like dun, 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 hey, what's up, blah blah blah. Ooh, ouch, that hurt. Okay, I'm fine. Like it's basically really how I've gone through all my life. I've always been lucky. I've always been blessed. I've always been full of love. Um, Recently, I got hit 3 times by 3 people that I cared for in the last year, and it hit me hard. Um, and it caused a lot of changes in me where I like pulled away from my family, I pulled away from my friends, I just stay home a lot, and I don't want to be around people I don't trust as much as I used to. Um, and I'm trying to change that. Like I want to get back to like my go happy yay me that I was. So that's when I started cleansing with the juices and the green tea and like like eating healthier, more like vegan desserts because you're never gonna get me to stop eating dessert. Not me, all day. But I'd rather have vegan desserts with like bananas and eggs and coconut oil and I'm still looking into that coconut oil because something's telling me I don't know. But anyway, um, and like clearing me out, and I know I have to exercise more and do stuff like that. Like I know that's really what's lacking is being connected to nature and being outside so that the energy and the world can replenish you because you get your energy from the universe. So if you're stuck in your room all day, you're not going to be able to get that energy. You have to actually like go outside and like hug a tree. No, don't. I mean, you can if you want to, but I don't mean it. Like, don't listen to everything that I say. You know what I mean? Like, just take bits and pieces and use your common sense, okay? But what I'm saying is that, like, I mean, I would hug a tree. I would climb a tree and just sit in a tree for a couple of hours because it's just the way that I am, and I love climbing trees. Um, a lot of people say take your shoes off and like just stand in the grass and let like the earth touch you. Um, Dominicans are famous for walking around with no socks. We take off our shoes and we're like, ah, you know. Um, so just, you know, try to find what works for you. Everybody's energy is different. Everybody's way of receiving and giving energy is different. I was reading this book called The Four Agreements by some guy, I can't remember, Don Miguel something. And it's such a good book. And they talk about like how your words are spells and you cast spells and you receive spells all day. So whenever somebody's telling you something negative about you, they're casting a spell on you, and you start to believe that. Like maybe I do look bad, or maybe I do smell, or maybe, me. I don't know what people say to other people. Maybe I am stupid, or maybe I am weird. Like whatever. I don't know what people tell other people because I've only been blessed. So I've only been told beautiful things. Even I, as a child, knew that I was fat, and I knew that I looked different. I was like the only Hispanic, like this complexion person in an all white neighborhood of Greek, Italian, and Irish kids. The only one. I was the token Spanish chick for like 20, no, 15 years. And then I went to high school, and that's when high school was the first time I met Indian people, black people, Asian people. It was like, what is going on right now? But to me, they were just people. So I made friends with all of them, and I learned about different cultures and stuff. But it wasn't until high school that I was exposed to that. Like I think there was like one Filipino kid in in our school, and I was with the same kids for 8 years. I went to Catholic school, and it was a small class. It was like 40 or 50 of us. So it's like my world was really small for a while. So I knew I was awkward looking, but my mom made it up by having these big, huge, extravagant themed parties where everybody wanted to go, and she always had like like events at the house, and everybody was like, "Oh, Myra, she's so cool. I want to go to her party." Blah blah blah. So I was given, in my opinion, a gift through my mother, who was always trying to make me feel welcomed and comfortable and not feel like the odd person out. She always made sure my hair was done. I always had the best clothes. Something new came out, I got it first. And I know not everybody has that privilege, but I was blessed in that way because I never wanted for anything. And I never, like, I was always cool and popular, and I always felt like, wow. And to me, that was normal. Like, even if my friends didn't have it, I was the first one to be like, here, you can have it. And my mom would be like, no, don't give that away. Do you know how much that costs? And I'm like, no, mommy, I don't know how much that costs. But you gave it to me. So I'm going to, and she's like, no. And I was like, okay, my bad. Sorry, I need to take that back, but that's just the way. And I'm like that now as an adult. If you ever hang out with me, I'm like, here, you can have it. Yeah, sure, here, whatever. Now I know when people are taking advantage of me, now I'm more like, mm-mm. But I just want to let you guys know that what you speak into your children, they remember. My mother was always telling me, oh, Marita's so beautiful. Oh, she looks so pretty. She would buy me pretty dresses. And mind you, sometimes I did not look pretty because, like, I was an awkward looking kid sometimes. But everybody was like, oh, you look so beautiful. You're so pretty. You're so nice. Oh, and I was smart. I was very smart. It's one thing. Marita's on the president's, like, the honor roll, the dean's list, like everything. I always had high grades. So I always tried to do stuff where my mom could brag about me because I liked it. So whenever, and then other people would be like, oh, I heard you did this. And I'm like, yeah, and that built a lot of confidence in me. Just so you guys know, like, I don't want it to be the me show. It's like examples that you can do for your children. Like, you have to instill in them confidence. You have to instill in them, like feelings of beauty. So when I walked around and let's say I didn't look good and somebody was like, oh, you're ugly or you don't look good, I'd be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, because like 80 other people told me that I look good and I'm beautiful. So maybe you might think I'm ugly and you might think that I'm not that pretty, but that's probably based on what you were raised with, which you're not probably used to seeing me, so whatever. I don't really care because I know I have 80 other people that think I'm fabulous. Does that make sense? So that's why it's so important to have a village raise your family or your children, not just a couple of people, because a couple of people can really ruin someone. They can really affect somebody. That's kind of like how these like devil's rejects kind of people grow up. If you ever saw that movie, or like all those weird people, is because they're a very close-knit, small group of people that are demented, and they're like giving each other this false information, and they're tearing each other down and building each other up, tearing each other down. But it's psychotic, and then crazy people come out of it. Whereas if you have like 30 or 40 people that your kid's constantly around, like because you have brothers and sisters, and then they have friends, and your kid goes, to stay at, like me, I went to my aunt's house, and then I met her friends, and I met my cousin's friends, and I was exposed to a large group of people. And it's like every time I went to somebody else's house, because my mom had multiple brothers and sisters, I was able to be exposed to different things and different conversations. And as a child, you quiet and you're observing and you're learning. So the conversations that they had and the things that they talked about, and luckily I came from a very well-educated family They were always talking about what was current, what's going on. We're also open to like things like, back then it was all about like Atlantis and the Scientology and, all these different, oh, did you hear about this and blah, blah, blah and la, la, la. And it's like, they would talk about money, they would talk about energy, they would talk about all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, and I was very aware that there were different groups, there were different cliques, and they talked about different things. I also had different groups of people that spoke different languages. Like when I went to my cousin's house, I had to speak Greek. So I spoke Spanish first, then Greek, then English. I learned English in kindergarten, you know? And it was because when I went to my cousin's house, I had to speak Greek because my uncle wouldn't talk to us in English because he was Greek and he wanted his kids to learn it. So it's kind of like I learned how to, be comfortable around Greek people. My best friend in the whole world was like really Italian, like really, really Italian. And a lot of the people I grew up with were like straight off the boat Sicily, like really, really Italian. So when I went to their houses and I hung out with them, I got to learn that. And I think I grew up in a very, I was very blessed and lucky. But even when I went to their houses and I was the odd man out, like I saw how they tried to include me because they didn't want me to feel uncomfortable. And I feel like you should always do that to people. Like I felt my whole life I've always tried to make people comfortable. Even if I didn't like them. If they were in my house and I didn't like them, I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, do you want something? Blah, blah, blah. Because it's what you give out. And by giving out that positive energy and letting people feel good about themselves and comfortable and stuff, then that will return to you. And you'll have good things happen to you. And your karma will always be blessed. I never let people live on the street. If I see one of my friends are struggling, I always let them stay with me. A lot of people don't do that. And I got screwed over last year a lot. But it's okay. It was just 1 year out of my life. I'm 36, I'm going to get over it, So I just want you to know that there are people out there that through their words will speak negativity into you. They'll tell you that you're weird or you're awkward or you're this. Now, pay attention, because if a lot of people are telling you the same thing, like if a lot of people say you smell, then maybe you smell. And you might have to work on that. Maybe your breath does stink, and you do have to work on that. Maybe your feet do smell, or maybe you do look at people like really weird, and then they feel intimidated because you're just like really weird, Soften up the eyes. I used to smile like that. That's my smile. When I am so happy, you don't even like I can't help it. This is not happy, right? And my mom used to be like, stop it, you look ugly. And I'm like, and she'd be like, just soften your mouth. And this became my smile. So now this is my picture smile. And every picture I'm like, soften. 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 But when I'm happy, and I'm so blissfully happy, and you made me laugh from the inside of my soul, I'm like, this is my inner child. This is the true me. You know what I mean? So, but you learn, and that helps me a lot, because if I was like this the whole time in my life, people would just like weird, and it's okay if you're like that, like some people can pull it off and look good, and some people can't. But I mix it up, so you get little bits and pieces of me. But listen, because sometimes people are helping you so that you can assimilate, believe it or not, to this world. Because there's going to be a long video. I don't know if it's going to post, but like this world is made up of a lot of things, and a lot of it's bullshit. Okay. And what I'm saying is that, we all come into this world with our own individual divine truths, the truth. And because we're born into a certain time or an age or a world, then we have to assimilate to that world so that we can fit in, so that we can then send our message. But as we get older, we forget what that message is because we're taught to speak a certain way and act a certain way. I've always said it. I said, you're born speaking and knowing exactly what you should. But because you're trying to communicate with people, you have to learn a new language. When you're born, it's like you don't speak, right? So now you have to learn how to speak like these people. And you're like, okay, this is, and little by little, you start to forget your purpose. And there comes a point where you remember little bits and pieces, but sometimes you're so brainwashed by everything that you're fed with the media and school, and and you don't blame your parents, because your parents only teach you what they know. And a lot of this is in the book too, but it's interesting because as I was reading the book, I'm like, oh my God, this is everything I've believed my whole entire life. And it's in this book, and I never even met this guy, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel something. I think it's Don Miguel something. It might not even be that, but it's called The Four Agreements. It's about Toltec history and stuff like that. Look it up. It's amazing. Um, and so we're taught to be the people that we are. You know, like you might want to be a dancer, photographer, a firefighter, and your parents are like, there's no money in that. Be this instead. And then you're like, oh, okay, because you trust your parents because they love you and they want the best for you. And you know, you did some research and you're like, yeah, this I make more money doing this thing. Fine. But that's not what you want it to be. That's not where your heart and your soul were. You know, and that's why there's so many people now in their 30s and 40s, which is why I'm a startup consultant, because I'm helping people make their dreams come true, that are waking up and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I never wanted to do this. I did this because it was the best thing for me to do, but now I'm done. I want to take my money, whatever, and I want to change my careers. I want to do something that I love for the rest of my life. I help you do that. So if you want to do that, contact me. But that's why the shift is happening, because we're all waking up and we're like, no, if I have to live, I'm going to live. I'm going to live. And what I want for everybody is to surround yourself with people who encourage and uplift you. People who make you feel beautiful. People who help you be the best that you can be. People who make you laugh and smile. Because those are the ones that are constantly filling up your energy and refilling you with love. And then you have those people that sometimes do it, but then every so often will throw in a little negative comment. Don't get mad at them. That's what they were brought up with. Be happy that they're even as positive as they are. That means that somewhere in their background, something negative happened to them. And that's learned behavior. And they're trying to maybe either get that out of their system or they don't even realize they're doing it. That's when you as a friend go up to them and say, hey, you know, I just want you to know that every so often you kind of like stab me, you know, and it kind of hurts my feelings. And they're like, oh, but I'm just being real. But that, again, that's just learned behavior. Don't like judge them. Don't hate them. Don't be like, you know, like you got to make a choice if you want to hang out with them as much. But it's the way that they were brought up. They can't help that until they see that there's something wrong and then they choose to make a change. You know, but until you tell them, might not be aware of it, kind of like the smile. Sorry. But anyway, so just, you know, remember what you're doing. You can either be a vampire or you can be a giver. And a giver helps people fill up love with. That's why people come to me, because I'm always constantly building people up and make them full of energy. And you know, I have a few friends that I like vent to, and I can tell when I'm venting to them and their energy is like depleting, and I'm like, okay, let's change the subject. Let's talk about cupcakes and chocolate, and I met this guy, blah blah blah, you know. And I change the subject because I'm very aware, but sometimes I need to vent as well, you know. And lately I've been talking to God, but He doesn't reply, you know. So it's kind of, you know, you want to talk to somebody. Oh, my back. Oh, I'm getting old. But I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know that you're not alone, that there are tons of people out there. And if you feel that you're alone and you're stuck in your room and you feel like you're drained, it's because you're not out there meeting people. There's millions of people in this world. You can walk outside your house and make a friend. You can go to a coffee shop and sit down and talk to somebody. You can, if you're in New York, walk on the subway and make a friend. Like, you can take classes and meet people that like to do what you like to do. There's no reason for you to ever be alone. There's no reason for you to feel like you don't have a place or a purpose. You just need to surround yourself with different people. And maybe you're like me in a transitional phase where you're basically cutting out a lot of people that were in your life before, and you're starting a new life, but you're still keeping those people around because you're not crazy or stupid and you love them, you know? But right now, you're changing. So because you're changing, you need to be around people that have this new energy, this new vibration, this new level, you know? And you need to be around those people a little bit more than the people from your past, because you're growing. And maybe the people from your past aren't growing, or they've grown in a different path, but you still love and respect them because they're from your past. They made you who you are, and they know you when you were the person that you were before. You know, we're constantly growing, changing, and evolving, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's really important for you to understand that, and not to knock somebody down when they're growing, changing, and evolving, because you miss them and you want them to stay the same person that they are. That's when you become the vampire. You need to uplift and encourage people in their journey as they're changing, as they're growing, as they're learning. You know, and that's really what the big problem is. I'm in Amway too, of course. And people knock people that are in Amway because they're growing and they're changing and they're becoming better people and they're learning things and they're being more positive. And people that they were friends with are like, oh, why are you changing? And I don't like the way that you are. Well, you know what? Because they're growing up and they're realizing that in order for them to attain what they want and they need to make changes. And it's the same thing, you know, with anybody who's in sales. Because the same books that we read in Amway, the same books that you read in any sales company, in any successful entrepreneurial program, they're all like self-help, make yourself better, love yourself books, you know? Um, and they teach you how to like reach your goals and do what you need to do. And it's all about the power of the word and surrounding yourself with like-minded people and uplifting each other and encouraging each other. And that's what this is about. Encourage each other. Even if you don't know the person, if you see somebody that's sad, be like, hey, you look beautiful today. Or you look nice. Or I like your shirt. Something that uplifts them and makes them think like, oh, because you don't know how close someone is to suicide. You don't. You don't know how close somebody is to just giving up. And all they need is that little bit of encouragement. All they need is that little bit of love, you know, that you can give them. And you might not think it's a lot, but it is a lot to them, you know. So just remember that you have a lot of power. And there are spells in your words. You can either make somebody feel good and uplift them and help them on the road of success, or you can tear them down and break them down. And if you do that, remember that karma will come back and beat your fucking ass. So don't do it. No, really don't. Like, it's really fucked up. Like, to really, like, ruins. Like, it's different if you're giving somebody constructive advice and you're like, hey, I noticed this about you. Maybe you want to change it. You don't have to, but I just want you to know that this might be how you're perceived by other people. And then it's up to them to make that decision. But then they shouldn't hate you because you actually gave them some constructive criticism because it's coming from a loving place. You know what I mean? It depends on the place that it's coming from. But also the person, regardless, if you're coming from a loving place, might take it personally and then be like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to that person. They said this and blah, 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 and they're jealous. And blah. No, they're just being honest. But some people out there, they literally do it to break you down because they know that that's what's going to hurt you. And they don't do it to help you. And it's a fine line, and you need to find those people. Like, luckily, you know, the team that I'm on in Amway, they are amazing. You know what I mean? But luckily, the people I was raised with, my cousins, my family, they're amazing too. You know, like, I thank God that I was born into the life that I was born into. You know, and I'm very grateful for all of the people that have come across my life. Every single person, the people that I'm filming for my documentary, totally changed my world. Unbelievable, wonderful people. You know, like, the people that I meet on a daily basis at Craft Coffee, at all these places, they're amazing, amazing. I'm so grateful and happy for everybody, you know. But because of that gratefulness, that happiness, then good things will come because that positive karma is constantly surrounding you. It also protects you from a lot of these things that people might be sending to you because you're constantly on a high vibration. You're always happy. Good things are around you. You know, like, bad things will happen. And the older you get, the more bad things that happen. And that's why I tell everybody, when you have children, let them be young and free because they can't get that time back. They can't get that freedom back. You know what I mean? And as you get older, things just get harder. You got to pay bills. You got things to do. People start dying. People get sick. You know, your finances get worse. The government screws you over. You know, your job screws you over. You know, like, just, it's so many things, you know? And you have to kind of take control of it and sit there and say, no, I'm not going to let it break me. I'm not going to let this break me. And this is how I'm going to figure it out. And this is what I'm going to do. And it's different for everyone. Everyone's prescription is different. Everybody's way of dealing with it is different. But it's the same concept. This is not going to break me. Yes, I got married and I have 4 kids and now I'm getting a divorce. That's not going to break me. You know, yes, I've been at this job for like 15 years and I thought that I was going to, you know, grow with it, and all of a sudden I got fired. That's not going to break me. Yes, I fell in love with this guy and, you know, I spent so much money on him and then now I'm in debt and we're not together and now he's like sleeping with my best friend. That's not going to break me. None of these things have happened to me, but I'm just saying, you know, these are like examples. I suggest watching Joel Osteen every Sunday. He's amazing. Everything he says is so profound, and it's the Bible, it's religion, it's the, you know, it's not like he's making this stuff up. It's like in the book for whatever, and it's his interpretation, which I think I'm not going to talk about religion because I don't want people to hate me, but I like Joel Osteen. You know, and you have to choose your truths. You have to figure out what works for you, what makes sense to you, what are the truths that you want to believe in. Some of the stuff that we're taught isn't for you. It's not for everyone. They're not your truths. That's why there's polygamy. That's why there's homosexuality. That's why there's, you know, some people that are together forever since they're in high school sweethearts. That's why some people aren't together. Like, not everything you're taught is true. You know, going to school and getting a job, that's not the only way. Trust me, I'm a perfect example of that. I can teach you how to break free from that. That's what I do. It's help people break free from that system and then create the life that they want. And I'm not the only one. There's tons of people. I'm just, I'm just Myra. So just remember, like, I look at me with the wigs. I'm trying to teach people to change your look. So just remember that it's all up to you. It's all what you want to believe. The only person that makes you happy and unhappy is you and how you perceive the information that's in front of you. Because if somebody says something about you, you can either be like, or you could be like, whatever. I'm more of like the whatever person. Something you can say that's going to break me. It might hurt a little bit. I might cry for a little while. I'll get over it. Why? Because I have a history of 36 years of amazing, wonderful life. And I looked at when you look back at your life, you're like, everything that almost broke me didn't. And I'm still here. So bring it on, because there's nothing you can do that's going to break me. I always tell people, you can leave me alone in a room by myself. I'll write plays, I'll write operas, I'll write, songs. I'll come out there a better person. You're not going to break me by putting me in a room all by myself. Some people will be broken though, because they need to be around people and they need to constantly, hear words of affirmation and things like that. Another good book is the five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Great book. Everybody should read that book, especially if you're in a relationship, because you have to give the person that you love a certain type of love, the love that they understand, in order for that relationship to keep working. So what you might consider love, like this kid that I cared for, I used to put these little notes in his pocket. He didn't get it. He did get it. It's just that he didn't love me. So you'd be like, why are you doing this? It's so awkward. It's so weird. But if he loved me, he would appreciate it. And for any of you guys that have ever heard Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul, there was a story about this woman or man, I can't remember who, and they would leave notes for each other, like on the mirror in the shower, in each other's pockets, at work, on their computer, whatever. They would always leave notes for each other. And it reminded them that they love each other so much. It would always be little surprises, like in their sock, in their favorite drawer, in the car. Like, there were just all these little notes. And one of them passed away. This is going to make me cry, because this is why I did it, First person I ever did it to didn't even appreciate it. But it's okay, because somebody else will. And the person passed away. And it's like, after they passed away, the other one that was still alive kept finding these notes. And even though that person was gone, they still had a piece of them. And it's like months went by and they kept finding these notes. And it's like, no matter how lonely they felt, they would find a note and that love would rush back in and that relationship came back. And they were, that person was able to feel the love again and know that, like, they're still here and they're still loving me even though they're gone. And I waited my whole life to share that with someone, and I'm grateful that the person didn't appreciate it. It did a little bit, but I'm grateful because now I know that I can love someone else and that I should love someone else, because when you love, it should be reciprocated. That goes back and forth, goes back to the loving words, to the loving actions. Yes, in relationships you might do stuff that hurt each other. Again, that's probably learned behavior, or something that your friends are giving you advice to do to somebody else. But it's up to you to then fix that and realize that, what, regardless of how much we hurt each other, we're going to stick together and we're going to have each other's backs and we are going to move forward together. Okay? And we're going to dissolve all that learned behavior that's destructive for us. And we're going to move forward together as a united force with nothing but love, because we learned what would destroy us and we chose not to do that any longer. And that is an amazing relationship. And that's what I look forward to. So if you ever love somebody and they didn't love you back, just realize that wasn't the person that was meant to love you. And maybe they are. Maybe they'll come back and you guys can then unite and be that force, But maybe they weren't. Relationships make or break you. These tough times that we go through, they make or break you. But the key are the words and the advice that you give yourself and that other people give you. And that's where the spells are cast. That's whether they tell you good things or bad things, whether they try to manipulate you or help you, whether they have your back or they're breaking you. And that's what you need to decide, is who you want to be around and who you want to move forward with. And that's what this video is about. Finding the people that are best for you, that can help you be the person that you're meant to be with, because you came here with a destiny, you came here with a purpose. You just forgot what it was. And at some point you'll remember. I hope you remember. But in the meantime, as you're going through this journey, find people that are going to uplift, encourage you, and make you feel better about yourself. Because you are an amazing work of God. Amazing. And you deserve to be loved, uplifted, encouraged. Always. I love you guys.